increase fees. And I completely agree with Matt that, there's no reason why we should be ranked, with UIUC and University of Chicago for tuition. And, we have an impact on student fees. We can voice our opinion, and, people actually, the administration and hopefully the board will listen to us. So I think this is the right time to do this.
Thank you. Are there any other parliamentarian ballot?
I'd just like to make a quick friendly amendment. It says 333 million. The current numbers are 150 million. Is that okay if we just change that? Make
Sure.
it more accurate.
I mean, it was done in the summer, so
Yeah.
Yeah.
he just announced
Yeah, I just want to make it friendly. Just to change quick language.
To 130 million?
150 was the current number. Whereas the state of
All right,
Illinois.
we'll change it to 150, and we'll also add where it says with no payment in sight for FY10, because there are still
That's what they
costs
still owe
that the
us.
state owes us
Mhm.
for FY11, which are accumulating as we speak.
And I think, just for the sake of accuracy, I think it is actually 130 now, as of
130.
yeah,
Okay.
as of maybe a week or two ago.
These numbers got some change.
Yeah, and with the state not paying what it owes the university, the Board of Trustees has decided to more heavily rely on tuition revenue, which is why I have no faith in the idea that tuition will not increase in the future past the 9.5% increase they already had this summer. And there's no reason why UIS needs to be competing with ISU, Urbana, and Chicago as the most expensive tuition school in the state for undergraduate students. Are there any other comments? Charles?
I'd just like to say that in the Chronicle of Higher Education, which is a newspaper for higher ed, I should know that, but there's an interesting article. I can supply it to you all if you'd like, but it's just talking about how public universities are now being forced to think and act like private universities because they're not receiving that money from the state. So if you notice, it's becoming a growing trend for public universities to start acting more like private universities. So just thought you all might like to read that article. It has a lot to do with the student fees and tuition increases as well.
Yeah, I'd like to read that. Could you get that to
Mhm.
everyone? Thanks. Are there any other comments? Jamie, do you have a few? I'll call you out.
Thinking about it. I'm contemplating this one. No, I don't think I do this time.
Okay. This is the first reading of this resolution. We will vote on it on third reading, which will be the meeting after the September 22nd and 23rd elections. So the new SGA members or the current members who are retained will be able to vote on that. And I expect that it'll be an important issue coming up to keep UIS affordable for undergraduate students. If the university is to grow, it's got to be affordable, and I know that's what we all would like to see happen. After this meeting, there will be a Facebook group going up to support keeping the cost of higher education in U.S. affordable through not increasing student fees for FY11, and I encourage all of the students out there watching this right now to check that out and to learn more about the resolution. The next resolution we have coming up is a resolution calling for a moratorium on Lincoln Residence Hall and Founders Residence Hall housing rate increases for the 2012 fiscal year. This resolution also came out over the summer with myself and Internal Vice President Melchin co-authoring this resolution. The idea being that the dorms are where freshman students for both Gen Ed and the honors program are forced to live if they're on campus. In fact, if you're in an honors program, you have to live on campus. You can't even if you're from in town, you can't live in town without petitioning to live elsewhere. So I feel that we need to keep the costs low. As of right now, it's more expensive in the dorms than it is a 4-bedroom townhouse with a kitchen and a living room, or a 4-bedroom apartment with a kitchen and a living room with 2 bathrooms in each. And I feel that there's no reason why that needs to be the case, and I think at the very least we need to stop raising the rates for the dorms, if not anything else. Also, honor students, they have to live in the dorms, Lincoln Residence Hall, during their sophomore year as well. Gen Ed students, they can live in Pennyroyal before they can live in the rest of the townhouses or apartment areas their junior year. That's where this resolution comes from. Senior Vice President Melchin, do you have any other comments?
No, I think you hit the nail on the head. Just, this is just a 1-year moratorium that we're requesting. It's just a recommendation, so they can choose to do what they want. But, I think it's a good resolution. I think a lot of freshmen and sophomores are really going to get on board with it. I yield back.
Senator Wilson, do you have a comment?
I agree because I do feel that, the dorms, they're dorms, and they're way more expensive. I feel like, are they almost twice the amount?
It's almost
Than to live in a
$1,000
townhouse?
more expensive a semester.
So I feel like you have way more amenities to live in the townhouse, but you're paying half the price than it is to live in the dorms, and you're forced to live there. So I feel like we're kind of taking a lot of money from our freshmen and sophomores.
Yeah.
So.
Thank you, Senator Wilson.
Thank you.
Parliamentarian Chisholm? Or
Ballard.
Ballard. Sorry, I'm used to that.
Wow.
Yeah,
I
flashbacks.
understand it. But I
Come a little below.
that's okay, that's okay.
Kind of do.
Yeah, just necessary.
But I think this is much needed for at least for the 2 dorms, because living in the dorms the last 2 years here, being at UIS, it put a strain on my financials for just coming here, and it is expensive. And basically, what you get from the townhouses compared to dorms, you think the townhouses would be a little bit more, but they're not. So I think this is much needed, and it's a good resolution. And even though I can't vote because I'm a non-voting member, I wholeheartedly support it, and I can't wait to help campaign with the students to get them out to get support behind us. I yield.
Thank you, David. Student trustee Olivier? Felix,
Well,
miss you guys.
The first thing, to be completely fair, I think we also must acknowledge that it does cost more to live in the dorms because it costs more to keep up the facility. So I just like to put that out there. So because I know it does seem cooler to live in the townhouses, but it is actually cheaper to live there because it's cheaper to maintain the townhouses. So I just wanted to say that to be fair. But I think also to make this resolution stronger, we can add that a considerable portion of the undergraduate students, even outside of the Capital Scholars, are required also or forced to stay in Founders Hall during their sophomore year as well, because Pennyroyal only holds so many students, and because they're not allowed to move anywhere else, a large portion of them are also required to stay in Founders Hall as well. So maybe where we say that whereas all Capital Scholar honor students are required to live in LRH, we could add that in addition to a considerable portion of residents in Founders Hall.
Just that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, we can add to it, but this is just
Okay.
the first reading.
Correct. I agree with that amendment. Could you type up the exact language and perhaps email it to me? Okay. Yeah, the whole purpose of both the moratorium on student fees and LRH and FRH housing rate increases is to keep UIS affordable and to keep the cost of attending UIS and receiving a higher education here as low as possible without degrading the quality of education that you receive here. It's all about the future incoming students, the students who aren't even here yet. Current freshmen, they're going to have to, for the honor students, they're going to have to live in the dorms next year anyways, and this is just keeping the cost low for incoming future students. Are there any other comments for the housing resolution? This resolution will also be voted on at third reading at our third meeting directly after the election results come in for the September 22nd and 23rd elections. Are there any comments from anyone?
I got one comment. Do we know what UIC and UIUC is doing for their honors program? I know they have honors programs there, but what is their how do they force their students, their honor students, to live on campus, or how does that work? Does anyone know offhand?
I don't
Amy, do you know?
I know for UIUC, it's not really the same as ours. They really just take one class, where ours is a curriculum.
Okay.
So their housing is no different.
So they're housing, so they're required to live on campus if they're a freshman, sophomore. Okay, I was curious about that.
So.
Charles?
Also, you'll find if you look at honors programs at different universities, you'll find that the honors program we have here is quite unique in a lot of ways. So
Yeah, I noticed that.
I doubt that they'd force them to stay. So
Right.
Are there any comments before we close?
I think a smart thing to do though would to be also be looking at U of I Champaign, because since we are compared to them, maybe
Mhm.
look into what their honors program does, and maybe look more in detail to UIUC or UIC. Sorry, UIC. Maybe just look at both of them, because maybe that gives us a stronger case too. Just kind of look
Okay.
to see what their programs do.
Yeah.
So.
I have, being an honor student who has been in the program since their freshman year, and I'm a senior now, I honestly can say I have no faith that they would change the policy of requiring students to live there. The only way that we as an SGA, I believe, would be able to improve the situation any better is by doing what we're doing now and
Right.
keeping the costs as low as possible. Because the people who run the honors program, I don't see that there's any intention for them to let students live elsewhere other than the dorms. Their philosophy is to create a living, learning community, which is just better learning environment, according to them.
That's what I was going to say.
Okay.
I believe there actually is talks of maybe sophomores not living in the dorms.
That would be
From
a
what
good
I've heard from the
improvement.
honor program, they are looking into that a little bit more.
Okay. That would be a good improvement. All right, all in favor of calling this meeting to a close?
Hi.
Aye.
Hi.
All those opposed, abstentions? All right, I adjourn this meeting. Thanks.